Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another workout. And today was dynamic effort squat and deadlift day, and I was happy with this workout. Like, I was really happy with all of it, even the safety bar speed squat, because normally I loathe these. I'll be honest, I hate safety bar work. This stuff is so hard for me, and especially when you start running 100 or more pounds of band tension, just the way that it pulls you, I fight to breathe. So if you guys notice at the top, I get a really deep breath, full lungs again, and you see my elbows lift because I'm filling my lungs with air, bracing my diaphragm, all of that, because it jerks the air out of you at the top. It jerks the air out of you at the top, but today it wasn't as bad. But it can be really tough when you're doing 90-second breaks between the sets on these. It can be really brutal as far as just trying to keep air. And another little side note, and I'm going to say this very politely, I've seen a couple of the posters come in who I've seen their lifts who are like, I don't know, this speed work looks really light. I don't think this would be that hard. I'm going to very politely say, some of you guys who've said this, I've seen your 1-rep maxes, and you would get stapled trying to do this. This 5x5 on the speed boxes is probably exceeding your 1-rep max. With this bar, with these bands, with the weight I have on there off of a box, some of the guys who are saying that you guys wouldn't be able to do this for a max. Right? If you're not close to a 500-pound squatter, you're going to struggle with this. And that's just reality. It's a lot harder than it looks. And anyone who's done this stuff, they understand when they look at the specific band tension I'm running. That's 130 pounds of band tension. It's harder than you think it is. Like, this is actually, for me, if you were to ask me what's harder, the max effort day that I just did versus this is harder. Like, this is straight up harder. But it's necessary. It's necessary. Got to get it done. The other thing, it's a little waterier today. I can't talk. I am so tongue-tied. You guys will notice it, I think, on the box jumps and stuff, and it's because I've been feeling really starting to get run down this week, and I know I'm not getting quite enough fat in my diet, so I ate a bunch of peanut butter yesterday because I fasted yesterday morning. I had a bunch of errands I had to get done. I had to get all my GPP work done, so I did all my farmer's walks and everything yesterday, fully fasted. Then I had some errands and stuff I had to go take care of, and so I didn't eat till noon yesterday, and then I realized I need to get more fat, and I ate a bunch of peanut butter and stuff. I don't think I really ate a surplus. It was still maintenance or close to, probably maybe a hair over, although with the GPP it might not have been. But you know, peanut butter tends to do that to me for some reason. It always puts a little water on me. I only picked up 2 pounds actually from it, and it'll drop back off in a few days. But I do feel like I need to add just a little more quality fat to my diet for a couple of days. Make sure I'm recovering from all this training. Make sure everything's good. Because again, sometimes the food can get a little bit low. That's one of the things with the keto, is that with me doing all the extra conditioning and all the GPP and the farmer's walks, that especially haven't increased my protein. Because again, protein has its own thermic effect. I'm probably going to find it harder and harder to even stay at my body weight. And that's just going to happen, and that's fine. My weight might start drifting down. But I mean, yesterday is what it took for me to get enough calories in. I don't want to do that every day. It did feel good, though, to get just a little extra food, and I felt like I needed it, especially for the volume I was going to do today. So it definitely helped. My workout felt great. But I think that's one of the things I'm going to note at a certain threshold, the training volume associated with conjugate. Because a lot of people misunderstand it. They don't realize this is ultra high volume training. I've seen people like actually make an argument that it's low volume. It's absolutely ludicrous. This is higher volume than a lot of bodybuilding programs. And you start really looking at what people do on this training system, it's a lot. And I'm going to be limited, like, because I don't want to blast a bunch of gear, I'm going to be limited on the upper thresholds of it. I'm only going to be able to handle so much. But occasionally I'm going to have days where I eat a little heavier while still staying on my diet. It's still going to be keto, still going to be clean foods. But there's going to be days where I've got to get either more fat or more protein in or whatever just to handle the workloads. And that's okay. But I have a feeling, because of what happened, dropping a couple pounds over the last couple weeks, that, yeah, this is going to reach a threshold to where I'm just going to burn through a lot of calories. And I'll lose body fat. You know, keep losing body fat. It's fine. It's good. We want to be leaner. All right. Being lean and healthy, as long as you're not excessively lean, is a good thing. Better strength to weight ratios. You know, it's all good. So that's desirable. But it's going to be sometimes a balancing act with the food. But from this angle, I don't really look fatter. I think on the box jumps, you guys will see around the waistline, because I also ate a bunch before I trained this morning. Like, I loaded up on the food really good. Like mid-workout, I stopped and I ate some more. So by that point, definitely there. So I'm doing box jumps with a food baby, because I ate after the deadlift. So I want to get some more food in. And now my post-workout meal, I don't want to eat anything. It's like, after I've trained, I don't want to eat. I had a protein shake and I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to eat anything. But the speed pulls themselves were great. My thumbs feel great. I did all 20 today against the bands. And you know what? My thumbs don't hurt. They're not blistered. I mean, they're a little bit tender, as they always are after hook grip pulling. But I think I'm kind of in that groove to where I'm finding that me having to do large numbers of singles with the hook grip on the speed work is teaching me to find how to set my hook perfectly. Because if you don't set it perfectly, the bands just rip against your thumb. They rip against your thumb. And you know, it's like the video I had out earlier this morning, a lot of people were like, oh, you're talking about the hook grip, it's so terrible for your joints. It's not. Actually, when you do it correctly, it doesn't hurt your joints at all. It's your skin. It's tough on your skin. So you build, you know, one heck of a callus along your thumb. And I've noticed that now that I'm learning to set it correctly, the callus is getting longer. So the callus that I'm building along my thumb is now twice as long as it used to be, because I'm learning to get the entire edge of the thumb correctly against it. So it's all the way down to the nail bed, almost to where my thumb reaches the crease in my hand, because now I have that entire area against the bar, because I've learned how to bend the thumb and set it correctly. And by doing so, I'm building that bigger callus up, and finding it doesn't hurt as bad, right? It's getting more and more secure. And I think just my grip is improving in general, because a lot of people have this misconception that the hook grip just works like straps. Like, straps will hurt your wrist also. They can cause their own set of problems, and people forget that. They think that it works purely like straps and that you don't have to squeeze the bar. Your grip strength better be on point to hook grip. You're not going to take a weak grip and think you're going to hook grip and it's just you can hold it loose like straps. You have to squeeze really, really hard, right? You have to crush that bar to make this work. And I feel like the farmer's carries, all the farmer's walks are really helping, which I don't know if anyone will notice down there on the base. People are like, you don't have handles. You're lying. I'm sitting there with thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment, and I'm lying about a pair of $70 handles. They were partially still loaded with bumper plates, and I just rolled them over and laid them down on the edges to keep the platform stable. Right? But if you guys look, that is actual farmer's walks handles. That's Titan brand, the little compact ones they make. And if you're going to do farmer's walks in a tight space, they're awesome. And they're not expensive. I mean, when I say less than $100, I mean that literally. I think, I could be wrong, they're like $70 on Amazon Prime. I mean, you talk about a bargain. That is one heck of a bargain. Heck of a deal. So yeah, and I've had them a while. I've been using them. I use them probably 3 days a week. But yeah, the speed pulls, they were great. I also want to add more band tension next time. For those curious, yes, I'm using 150 pounds of band tension at the point of lockout. Yes, I've measured it, because normally those would be 100-pound bands, but that's when they're done long ways. And when I've measured them for squatting, that is what they measure for squatting and benching at the distances I'm doing them. But on the deadlift, they're a lot heavier, and I've realized it, and I didn't know until I measured them. But they are 150 pounds. It's 75 pounds a side for just those black bands. Because yeah, I actually measured how tall I stand up in a sumo and where I'm holding them, and I pulled them to that point, which is where you can see they're at, and I've measured them. So they're 75 a side. So 150 pounds of band tension is actually a lot for the speed pulls. But again, the grip training end of it is amazing, because it just jerks your hand so hard. And the same thing as far as the way it pulls on your traps and upper back. Like the way it pulls your whole upper back on the eccentric on the way back down. You know, because you already have that whole effect of, you know, when you pull it up, you have to explode the locket. You have to. And that's the point of speed work. But when you feel that eccentric on the way back down, the way those bands jerk you from the top, it's really an interesting effect. And again, people who've never messed with this sort of training don't understand. It has its own perks. That's the reason I'm doing all speed work with bands. That overspeed eccentric is so fantastic, and I would rather just swap bars and stuff around than go back to chains for my speed work. I feel like chains, when you really look at what they bring to the table, chains are really better for maximum strength. They really are. And bands are better for developing rate of force production. And then the overspeed eccentric you get on top of it. So when you're talking about force production combined with hypertrophy, bands are really next level. But you can't use them every workout. And that's something some coaches have noted. It's easy to overtrain with bands. All right, it's easier to overtrain with bands. And it's because of that eccentric effect they create. And it's because it's a very unique, it's very, very unique. And you can feel it. Not only do we know that it happens, but it has that feel to it. You feel that jerk when the band snaps back and you start the eccentric after you lock any given rep. It's definitely different. And again, it's one of those things that if you don't have it, you don't understand because you haven't done it. And anyone who's done it, you guys know what I'm talking about. Again, it's one of those things that you have to do rather than talk about. And once you do it and you mess with it for a while, then you understand and say, oh, I get it. I get it. It's one of the things where you have to do rather than teach. But I love bands now. I love them. I love them. I know chains look cooler. Chains look so much cooler, but bands just have this unique training effect. That's why I'm doing them here also. So I did, for this, I want to go for just for more volume on the good mornings right now on this day, and I'll again work with heavier weights, heavier and heavier on the chain days for my max days. But the dynamic days, because this is my higher volume days, especially for posterior chain. So I want to make sure that I'm growing everything. And again, when you start doing this volume good mornings, especially with that safety bar with the bands, it's again, the effect you feel in everything from your hamstring to your all the way through your erectors, your traps, your neck. It's again, unique exercise. And that's something I feel like I need to talk about too. Some people were saying, what do you mean if people are just going to use straps? They should just do a good morning instead of a deadlift. Yeah, you should. And I'm not saying not to deadlift, because I think you should deadlift. But a lot of the benefits of the deadlift come from gripping the bar. And I don't know how else to say that. That if you, when you are squeezing and holding that bar tight to where you have to hold onto the bar super tight, there is a neurological effect of that. And by using straps, you lose part of the training effect of the deadlift. And look how much more volume you can do with a good morning. And look at the other tools you have available. I mean, right here, perfect example. I can use a different bar that changes things and makes it more thoracic, erector, and neck and everything dominant, while still beating my hamstrings up. I mean, it's getting a stretch reflex in the hamstrings while training the entire erectors all the way up to the base of your skull. It's training your neck, your spinal erectors, thoracic erectors, upper traps, everything are getting worked while still getting a stretch reflex in the hamstrings. And look at the amount of volume you can do of this and recover. Okay? If you're not gripping the bar for the full body effect you are getting in the nervous system, you're losing a lot of the benefit of the deadlift. An exercise like this brings a lot to the table. All right? You have a lot of versatility with things like good mornings. And I'm saying that as someone who thinks that the deadlift is the greatest exercise of all time. I don't think it's that great of an exercise when you strap up. I just don't. It doesn't. It loses a lot of its benefit. The benefit is that dead stop from the bottom to where you have to squeeze the bar super hard. It's that double effect on the nervous system. There's a systemic response to it that makes you brutally strong. And when you use straps, you don't get that. Those same sets that you felt the need to strap up for, you could do something like a good morning if you're trying to get specific muscular fatigue and build certain whole muscles or get a stretch reflex or whatever you're trying to get. Brings a lot to the table. All right, these are tools you can use together. Different tools for different jobs. All right, and there's a lot of versatility to other hip hinges. Use them. Don't bother with straps. Work on your grip more. Learn to hook grip. Do whatever you need to do. Then we did box jumps. I did 5 with just body weight. Then I grabbed a kettlebell, and I think I did 4 triples with a kettlebell weighted because I need a little extra weight. And that's, people need to remember that. This is not my maximum height of a jump. This is just box jumps. This is just rep work. It's just speed work, right? Part of my dynamic training. And sort of something I've come to accept. You know, if we want to be athletic and we want to be explosive, then we need to train all these things, right? Plyometrics. Plyometrics are useful if programmed and done correctly. Now, I can be a little bit clumsy. I'm a big hippopotamus, but that's what I would tell people. All right, I'm 220 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal, baby. 220 pounds. I'm in my 40s. If I can do weighted box jumps on a 24-inch box at the end of a leg workout, all right, I just did all those squats and deadlifts. You guys can do this stuff. All right, come on. Let's be realistic here. I mean, do you guys want to be athletic and explosive and powerful or not? All right, this is a valuable tool. It's a valuable tool. And it's one that I need to utilize. I'm utilizing every tool that I have available because I want to be powerful and explosive and brutally strong. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.